Welcome to another episode of From Inside the Studio, and we're going to be talking about new government laws. And you know, whenever the government institutes a new law, you got to start looking at it and ask yourself, well, how's this really going to affect me? So for example, the government recently passed an act that they called the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, what's interesting is you would think that an act that's all about reducing inflation, or called that it would be, that the only thing that would be in there would be inflation stuff. But after checking this out, it's not really about reducing inflation at all. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take you through what's in this bill and talk about if it's going to even do anything to reduce inflation. Now, I'm warning you, I'm not going to be political. Really, I'm not going to be political. This is just about letting you know what's in there and then what to expect from a no-spin financial perspective. So the first thing is there's a creation of a 15% corporate minimum tax rate. So if a corporation has profit of at least $1 billion, they're going to have to pay a minimum tax rate of 15%. Then there's the prescription drug reform, which is going to allow Medicare to negotiate the price of certain prescriptions, certain prescription drugs, and which should bring down costs, and that's a good thing. I don't know why they weren't allowed to negotiate in the first place. It seems silly to me. I mean, I would think that you'd want them to negotiate always. And then we've got something called the Energy Security and Climate Change Investments. This bill includes numerous investments in that, and by investments that means spending. And that new spending is in climate protection. And then we've got a massive expansion of the IRS. 87,000 new agents will be added to the IRS. So what's that mean? Well, that means you're probably going to see audits go up considerably. Now, the news will tell you it's going to be just the wealthy getting audited. Here's the facts. They are already getting audited. That's already happening. So who are they going to be auditing? Well, they're probably going to be going after primarily small businesses, the backbone of our country. They'll be wanting to look to make sure that they are reporting all of their revenues and aren't taking their deductions legally, or they're taking them legally and not illegally. If you work for a corporation and you're just filing your taxes, getting a W-2 or a 1099, you probably have nothing to worry about, hopefully. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because the name of the act is the Inflation Reduction Act. So again, you would assume now that we're close to double-digit inflation that somehow this is going to reduce inflation, and that's all it's going to do. But this was in Forbes. When they went to the Penn-Wharton budget model, which is a nonpartisan think tank, it's associated with the University of Pennsylvania. Their general conclusion was that it was going to reduce inflation by 0.1%. It's not going to reduce inflation really at all. The belief here is that by reducing the federal deficit, that inflation will go down simply because the government won't have to spend as much. Unfortunately, they're saying that this is not going to do much to move that needle. The government's not going to stop spending. The only way that we're going to cut inflation is either to shrink the money supply, which is what the Fed is trying to do by getting the interest rates higher. The other thing is to increase supply, and that won't happen until supply chains get fixed. Government can't do that. They're going to want to think that they can. They're going to tell you that they think that they can, but they can't. So to call something an Inflation Reduction Act, when it has all this other stuff in it, and the experts say it will only reduce inflation by a whopping 0.1%, that seems a little bit odd to me. But just understand it's probably not going to have quite the change that we think it's going to have. But the question that I have is, how is it going to affect you? It's hard to say. I wouldn't get all that excited. Inflation is still not under control, and experts are saying that we are likely not going to see rates level off until well into 2023. That means we're likely be seeing more uncertainty, and uncertainty can lead to more volatility. So the important thing is to make sure that you have a plan that can remain strong no matter what happens no matter what ends up happening. So be careful, of that, and don't get overly confident. One reason I say that is if we just look at recently, if we just look at the October numbers. The October numbers showed that inflation was still at 40-year highs. So things haven't taken effect yet. Hopefully they will. If not, the Fed will continue to say we're going to keep increasing interest rates. And as long as they keep increasing interest rates, we're going to still continue to have heightened volatility in the market, and that's something you got to be careful of. So, hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you click down below and also hit that subscribe button. Don't forget, you can check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You just search for Group 10 Financial on any of those. You can also go to onthemoneyshow.com. We have close to 100 podcasts on there that you can download and get content 24/7. So we're posting updates, new content multiple times each week right there on in those areas. Be sure to check those out. But until next time, take care, and we'll see you at the next episode of From Inside the Studio. Bye now.